What's going on, everybody? For those who don't know, my name is Mark, and this is my channel, Music and Mental Health. For those who don't know my story or why I started this channel, I started this channel because I became a mental health advocate in 2013. 2013, which was the hardest time of my life. It was when I first got my diagnosis of anxiety disorder, panic disorder, agoraphobia, and clinical depression. For me, it started with physical symptoms that I was experiencing. Panic attacks, mainly, was the main thing. That's what started it off. And at first, I didn't even think there was any kind of mental connection between what I was feeling and experiencing, which through years of therapy, I found out that the physical and the mental are actually very connected. This whole thing is a long story. I didn't hop on here to talk about that. I have spoken to a few people recently who have said to me, Mark, I have lost all motivation. It takes me a long time to get out of bed in the morning, and I don't feel a drive to do anything. Depression is basically eating me alive. And I hear when people tell me those things, and to some degree, I still experience that now. I'm still experiencing that right now, but not as heavily as I was in 2013. There was a point in time where the person you see that is always making all these videos, that is always doing these different mental health talks, the person who does these entertainment videos and covers TV shows, was just laying in bed. I didn't get out of that bed. There was almost an entire year that I basically was in that bed 80 to 90% of my day. I didn't have a motivation to do anything. And I remember speaking to somebody about that a few months ago. And I said that to them. I said, I did not have a motivation to do anything. And they said, well, what did you do during that time? And I said, well, I remember I was trying different things. I was trying breathing exercises. I was looking up things that I could do for myself online, reading materials. I was trying to meditate. I went to different specialists. And they said, well, that sounds like you had a motivation for something. And I did think about that. My motivation at that time was to get well. I didn't always have the drive to do that because of how much I was weighed down by the symptoms that I was experiencing. But I feel and believe that if you are even speaking to somebody, even if it's not a licensed clinical social worker, even if you're just telling a friend, I'm going through something, it's because you have a desire or a motivation to get well. This is the message that I want to deliver to the person that feels like giving up. Don't give up. If the only thing that you have the energy and the drive to do today is to make it till tomorrow, then focus all of your energy on making it to tomorrow. If you don't feel good today, put something on your schedule for tomorrow that you know that you like to do. Find something that you like to do. The only way that you are going to stay exactly where you are is to stay exactly where you are. That's a simple statement and a profound statement at the same time. The only way you're going to stay exactly where you are is to stay exactly where you are. And I mentioned this on another video. Agoraphobia is one of the hardest. No, scratch that. Agoraphobia is the hardest thing that I ever experienced in my life because it started with these panic attacks. And anyone who's had agoraphobia knows your safe space shrinks over time because you become scared to challenge that safe zone. And then your safe zone is almost eliminated. So to simplify that, I used to get the panic attacks at work, and then I would get them in crowded spaces like grocery stores or church or different places that there was a lot of people, and I was worried about how my panic attacks would look to those groups of people. So if I felt that the panic attacks were coming on, I just wouldn't leave the house. And then I would say, okay, I'll leave the house when I feel totally good. And then I started getting the panic attacks in the house. I consider anxiety disorder as the overthinking disorder. So I started getting the panic attacks in the house. And then even within the house, I started getting them everywhere but in my room. And ultimately, that's why I ended up staying in my room for close to a year. But I still got the panic attacks in my room because it found me. It's not something that comes about because of something going on externally or around you. It could get triggered by that, but generally, it's what's going on inside of your own mind. So there was nowhere that I could run or escape from it. So ultimately, that's why I said the only way that you're going to stay exactly where you are is if you stay exactly where you are. Let your motivation be, if you don't feel any right now, take yourself to a place in your mind where you didn't feel like this, because you didn't start feeling like this immediately. And even if you have felt like this a lot in your life, there were times when you did not feel this way. So take your mind to a place where you felt happy, a place where you felt good about yourself, and a place that you felt very motivated. Visualize it. Put yourself in that place in time, whenever it was, whatever it was. It doesn't have to be something big or extravagant. It could be something as simple as I went to get an ice cream cone, and the taste of the ice cream cone was good, and I was happy. Whatever that place is in your mind, think about all the things that were happening at the time. All the things. What kind of car were you driving? What kind of day was it? Who were the people around you? Were you by yourself? What kind of music were you listening to? If you see where I'm going with this, pick one of those things that you can do or replicate and just do it and see what happens. And you'll tell somebody who's in a deep depression to do something that makes them happy, and they're like, well, nothing makes me happy. Everything stays the same if everything stays the same. I know I changed the phrase a little bit, but that's the way I heard it in my head after saying all that. Because I actually remember my mother during this time of my life in 2013, which was the worst time of my life to that point, telling me, well, maybe you would feel better if you got yourself a haircut, or if you dressed yourself up nicely and look presentable. Maybe if you fake it till you make it. And I was like, no. I look how I feel and I feel how I look. So no, I'm not doing any of that. I'll start to do that when I feel better. That's the whole irony and oxymoron to the situation. You can't feel better until you start doing. You don't have to do all at once, though. You don't have to go from I can barely get out of bed to I'm going to put 15 tasks on my schedule and jump up and do each one. Baby steps. Maybe for your entire day, you can set one goal for the whole day. Try and complete that one goal. And if you complete it, celebrate. Make one goal for the next day. If the one goal felt like it was a task, it was overwhelming, take a break. Do it every other day. But just don't go multiple days allowing yourself to be unhappy and not doing anything about it. Because those days can multiply and multiply and multiply. Before you know it, a year could go by like it went by with me. And you wake up and you say, what's happening with my life? The hourglass keeps moving, whether you're moving or not. And you want to make sure that as many days as you possibly can, that you're happy. Happiness is important. We're taught about everything. Finances, getting a job, having a family, all these different things. But nobody ever said happiness should be a priority in your life. And also, when it comes to motivation, which I am still trying to work on this motivation workbook, I'm kind of stuck in the mud with that, but you don't have to feel good to feel motivated. Those are two separate entities. A lot of times you start to feel good when you set goals for yourself and start pushing towards achieving those goals and start achieving those goals. And then you look back and you say, wow, look at how far I am now from where I started. So to close, I'm going to say it one more time. If you feel like giving up, don't give up. If today was not a good day for you, there's always tomorrow. Talk to somebody. Don't hold it in. Whether this person is a therapist, whether it's a peer counselor like me, or whether it is a trusted friend, family member, church member, let somebody know. Sometimes people need a boost from the outside, or they need an alternative perspective from their own. Or they might just need the support. It might not even be somebody who's like, here's step one, here's step two, here's step three. It might just be somebody to listen and empathize. Can make all the difference in the world. Check out motivational videos, YouTube, whatever other platforms that you might be able to find those. Start a journal. Throw yourself into some kind of meaningful activity. Figure out a meaningful activity if you don't have one now. But there's always hope that things are going to get better. You just have to push through it and stay positive and keep hopeful. All right, that's the end of my message, and I hope everyone has an amazing day. Please like and share for someone who you think might need this. We out.